A very warm welcome to the top three finishers of the FIA Formula One Japanese Grand Prix. In third place, Carlos Sainz. In second place, Sergio Perez. And taking the 57th win of his Formula One career and his third successive victory here at Suzuka, our winner, Max Verstappen. Many congratulations, Max. Can we start by getting your reaction to the win and the way the race panned out for you?
Yeah, I think it was very, very good win. It took a few laps to settle in a bit with the car, but I think we did make some good changes to the car before going into qualifying, which then helped, today. So, basically, after the first stint, some tiny adjustments were made to the car, and that helped me then to feel even more comfortable. And whenever I needed to go faster, I could. Whenever I needed to look after my tires, I could. So that's always a very nice feeling to have once you're driving. Medium tires, hard tires. Possibly the hard tires felt a bit better, but overall, on both sets, I think we were very competitive.
Can we talk about some of the setup choices you made? Because at one point, your engineer, Giampiero Lambiasi, came on the radio and said, I don't want to say I told you so. What was that all about?
We had not an argument, but he was like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Turned out to be wrong. So he was right. But in a way, it also fires me up because I'm like, okay, well, even I'm not entirely happy with the balance now. I'll still, try to be as, consistent as I can be without shouting back at him. But we have a great relationship, and it works well like that.
Max, it was a very dominant win. Were you surprised by the pace of the car? Because you said yesterday that you are unsure about your long-run pace.
Yeah, I was not happy up until basically qualifying, but then we did make some changes, and of course I cannot go into detail what we did, but it did help today, and it made it a lot nicer to drive and a bit more under control.
Okay, look, final one from me. Just after the disappointment of Melbourne, is there a sense of relief to get back to winning ways here in Japan at Honda's home race?
I mean, not a relief, it's just nice to win, and it's nice, of course, to win here in Japan. It's always an important race for us. The fans, of course, we have a lot of support here, and it's great, to win here in front of Honda, and basically have three cars in the points as well. So, of course, Melbourne felt like a bit of a, let's say, a hiccup, but what we did today, that's what we want to do, and that's what we aim to do every single weekend.
All right, very well done to you. Max, thank you very much. Checo, let's come to you now. Your second place in 4 races. Just how satisfying is it for you to have such a clean weekend here at Suzuka?
Yeah, it started really well yesterday, and today we had a good start. Unfortunately, I think we got caught out with the increase of temperature. I think with the balance, we just couldn't get on top of on that first stint, which meant that the other degradation was a little bit higher. And with Lando going on having two sets of hards, it just compromised a little bit our race more than I wanted to. But I think already on the second stint, things were a lot back onto control. We were able to get a better read to the balance, and I think by the time we got to the third stint, things were a lot better.
You looked very fired up in the cockpit. And what is it about you and 130R? You passed both Mercedes at the apex of the fastest corner on the lap.
Yeah, it just turned out to happen both at the same time. Spending time around one of the slowest cars, given the degradation they were having, it was quite penalizing. So I was just going for it, and it turned to be it happened at the 130 yard both times.
Nerve-wracking?
No, it's good fun. It's good fun to go around there with 2 cars. Yeah.
Checo, can we throw it forward quickly? Given the pace, you and the car have had here, do you think Shanghai in a couple of weeks' time will be a similar story for Red Bull?
It's a bit of a similar track, I'll say, with a lot of high-speed, medium-speed content. I think if we are able to be fast around this place, we can be fast in many other races. So it should be a good track for us as well.
Very well done to you. Thank you, Carlos. If we could come to you now. Very well done to you as well. Max spoke yesterday about Ferrari's long run pace looking very good. Just how confident were you coming into the race?
We kind of knew, can you hear me? Yeah. We kind of knew our race pace was better than our qualifying pace. Still probably not enough to go for a win, because obviously starting before, and given how good the race pace of the Red Bull is almost impossible to think about a win. But I was hopeful of achieving a podium that in the end we managed to achieve, even if it was a very tough race, very strategic. The track condition changed a lot through the race. We went from a very sunny track that we hadn't had all weekend to a very cloudy track. The degradation went down a lot, and you could push a lot more on the tires halfway through the race. And yeah, this changed the whole situation quite a lot. At one point I thought the podium wasn't possible, but then with the new hard, the pace was mega, and I could get back onto the podium.
Carlos, can we talk about the progress that Ferrari's made since we were last at Suzuka 6 months ago? Strategically, both cars very strong. You've halved the deficit to Red Bull over the race distance. Just how satisfying are those two facts?
Yeah, very satisfying. We exactly improved the car in the places that we wanted to improve it, and Suzuka proves it. Still, places like Suzuka, we are not as quick as the Red Bull, which is the target, but as soon as we bring a good upgrade to the car that goes in the right direction, hopefully can get us closer. But yeah, we've improved everywhere, and especially in the race pace. It also allows us to have more strategic flexibility that last year we didn't have. It allows me to go forward in the races, and instead of looking in my mirrors all the time, to offset myself with strategy and then overtake people, which is something that last year wasn't in the cards at any point. So happy, and makes me enjoy more racing.
Well done to you today. Let's open this to the floor now. Please remember to give your name and publication. First one, please.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Question to Max, please. Just going back to how you felt that the race pace might be a bit weaker yesterday, but clearly wasn't today. Did you reflect on how it was you were driving the tyres, or approach that you could make behind the wheel, or was it purely down to those setup changes that you mentioned? Thanks.
I mean, you always look at things that you can do better, but I think overall the biggest change is that we did change the car around, and that then just gave me more grip.
Thanks, Max. Yep, next one.
Lawrence Edmondson, ESPN. Question for Max. We've just been down talking to Toto, and he said that no one's going to catch you this season. I'm sure Checo probably has a different opinion to that, and maybe Carlos as well. But does it feel that way to you, that this championship's almost in the bag already?
Lately, Toto's been really nice, saying a lot of nice things about me. I don't know. It's still a very long season. I don't want to think about the rest of the season too much. I really want to approach it race by race. I know there will be tracks coming up that might not be so favorable for us, but then of course, when we do get to tracks where we know that we can be quick, we have to really take advantage of it and score the maximum amount of points as a team, and that's what we'll continue to try and do. And then of course, when I think we know that we get to tracks where maybe it's a bit more difficult, we have to try and maximize that as well, where maybe other teams can win as well.
Carlos, can we bring you in on this one?
I think they are definitely going to have an advantage in the first third of the season until we bring one or two upgrades that makes us fight them more consistently. But by that time, maybe it's a bit too late with the advantage that they might have on the championship. In the meantime, we need more Australias until then, which I don't see Red Bull as a team making these mistakes so very often. No, a shame, because also I missed a race, which for both the team and me, it could be costly in the championship. We're competing in one race less, but at the same time, we're gonna give it our best shot. It's my last year in Ferrari also, so yeah, nothing to lose, and we will try everything to make it back.
All right, thanks guys. Let's move on. Next one, please.
Ronald, votingmotorsport.com. Question to all three, starting with Max, please. I know you're not a fan of sprint races in general, but what do you make of the decision being China being a sprint weekend this year, especially as Formula One has been away for a couple of years, so there are a lot of unknowns for all teams, and only one practice session to get it right, basically?
Yeah, it's very smart to do that. No, yeah, I think it's not great, let's say like that, to do that, because when you have been away from a track for quite a while, I think you never know what you're going to experience, right? So it would have been better to have a normal race weekend there. But on the other hand, it probably spices things up a bit more, and that's maybe what they would like to see. So, but yeah, pure from like a driving perspective, performance perspective of the sport, I think it's not the smartest thing to do. But yeah, we'll see what we get there. I mean, I always love driving there. So yeah, hopefully we can hit the ground running, as well as we can, and hopefully we don't need to fine tune too many things on the car.
Yeah, I just hope that there are no issues with the track, with any drain holes, any issues like that will just put us out of sync. But I think for the show, probably it's good. It's a good thing. But I think from the preparation side, it's going to be definitely one that is going to be really hard, because I mean, I've never raced there, for example, with Red Bull, so it's going to be quite a lot to do in a single practice.
Yeah, I think there's two different topics. I think China as a race circuit is a great one. I think it's one of our favorite ones for everyone. It's just a great racing track, and a track that offers a good possibility to overtake, so a sprint makes sense to have it there. At the same time, is what we said in the driver's briefing, we said it to the FIA and Formula One, with these kind of cars to go to a track with 1 hour of practice and straight into qualifying, with the regulations that they put us, with the plank wear and things like this, and how tricky one bump could make the car. I think it's not a good choice to choose to put the sprint after 4 or 5 years absence. We also heard there's been resurface going on, so Istanbul 2.0 maybe on the card. So yeah, I hope not. So yeah, it just shows the uncertainty. Maybe for you guys at home is exciting, but for engineers and drivers, is something that, for me, in my opinion, we shouldn't take the risk and have a normal weekend.
Thanks all. Okay, another one.
Hello. Veljko Jukic, Autofocus. It's about 10 years from deadly accident of Jules Bianchi. And you are all very blessed. You are very lucky persons. And do you have time to think how indeed your sport is extremely dangerous and how lucky you are that there is no such an accidents here and there? Do you have time to think about that, on the danger and all this stuff that are on the negative side, but you are avoiding them? We are all lucky that is so. Thank you.
To be honest, of course, I prefer not to think about those things. I know, of course, that the sport can be dangerous, but I can also take a shower and slip and break my neck, So you have to put it into context. But yeah, I mean, F1, you achieve high top speeds and anything can happen. A part can break on the car, brakes can fail, a crash, you can roll. You can think about it a lot, but I think it's better not to think about it too much. But I think we're all experienced enough and aware that once we go for a move or when we go on the limit of a lap time, that a mistake or a crash is of course easily done, and of course you try to avoid these kind of things.
Yeah, I think we are all aware of the risk, but it's at the end of the day, it's our passion. We're here because it's our passion, our dreams, and we just don't think about it. We obviously have a lot of respect to each other on track. We know that we are traveling at extremely high top speeds, and when you see a shunt like it happened today with Daniel and Alex, the first thing as a driver, as a colleague, is that you want to make sure that they're fine, and then the show can continue. But it was a very sad day when that happened to Jules, obviously.
Yeah, not a lot to add. Danger is not a thing that goes through my head during my life. I only think about danger when I see a bad accident, or, for example, the other day when I did my bike ride and I was going around the corner where Schulz had the accident. You always stop for 3-5 minutes to think about such an unfortunate and bad situation that occurred that day. But we all love what we do. We all have a smile on our face when we put on a helmet and drive to the limit, like yesterday and today at the start. We go into turn 1 at 300, 3 side by side. Anything could happen, but we're all enjoying it. We're all, and I'm sure Jules, until the accident, he was enjoying himself, you know. So that's life. We've elected this. It's our choice. What we need to keep doing as a sport is to make sure that everything becomes safer and safer. For that, we need to thank the FIA. They've done an incredible job with the halo and other things with these modern cars that allows us to think less and less about that danger and risk. And we just need to keep pushing in that direction to be able to take even more risks. That is what we like doing.
Thanks all. Okay, let's have another one. Yep.
Michael Butterworth, Xinhua. Max, you mentioned just now there'd be some circuits where you'd find things a bit trickier than you did today. Where do you expect those circuits to be?
I think looking at the history so far, street circuits are, in general, a little bit more difficult for us. I do think that our car has improved a bit, you know, in the low speed. But of course, on a street circuit, it's not only low speed. It's drivability, it's curb riding like over the bumps, so general ride of a car. So these things are still a little bit unknown at the moment of how well we have improved on that. So we have to wait and see.
Thanks, Max. Yep. Other one, please.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Question to Sergio, please. There was a moment where you went a little bit wide out. I think it was Degner 2, where you were chasing Max early on, and your whole tyre seemed to go a little bit green as you ran over the curbs. Just wondered, could you explain what happened there, and how much did that contribute to sort of losing touch?
Yeah, it was quite a tricky corner. A lot of people went out there today, yeah, I just went in over the curve, and I was just hoping to don't pick up a damage, because it's so easy with these floors to go off and have a damage. As far as I know, we don't have any. I just understeered wide and went over the curb, and once you are at the top of the curb, it's game over. You just have to let the car roll, go over it, because it's better to be over than on top of it. But yeah, I obviously picked up a lot of dirt on my tires, which took a lap or two to really clean up, and yeah, lost a couple of seconds with that.
Thank you. Any more? Yes, another one.
Jesus Balseiro, Diario AS. To Carlos, 6 months ago you were 6th here. So what has changed on the car side, but also on the driver's side, for you to 6 months later you have this strong start of the season?
We just simply improve the car, and yeah, people also might think, you know, I'm in a better moment driving and everything, but the reality is just in Formula One, a car is very important also, you know, having a good car. And also this year, you know, I'm a very good moment. I'm driving at a high level, but at the same time, having a car that just allows you to go a bit longer, allows you to be a bit closer in dirty air and play around a bit more with strategy, just allows you to shine a bit more, you know. And yeah, that's why it's important, you know, in the career of a driver also to be in a car, because last year in the races we looked like we were always going backwards, always defending. We were terrible with tire management, and like that was difficult to do good races. This year, suddenly 3 races, 2 podiums, a lot of overtaking, a win, you know, it's a completely different picture. So yeah, it shows that in this sport that is very important too.
Thank you. Do we have any more? Yes, we do. Yep, another one.
Thanks. Nick from Bloomberg. Last week in Tokyo, we had the Formula E race, and I was wondering if I could ask each driver what you think of FE so far and what that might mean for Formula One in the future.
Who'd like to start? Max, can we start with you, please?
Well, what I like about Formula E is that there are quite a lot of good drivers in there. You know, you might have raced them in the past, or you've seen them around. So you know the competition is very high. Of course, a couple of my friends are driving in there as well, so I always keep an eye on it. It's not a category I would like to drive in myself in the future. I think it was very cool to see the track in the city, but then at the same time there was a proper jump in the track, so I don't even know who signed that off. He must have been drunk. But yeah, it's a bit odd. But I think from the driving and like the racing they have, I always enjoy it because yeah, the talent there in the series is very high, and that's of course what I think also makes it more exciting to watch.
Yeah, I fully agree with Max. I think it's great to have a series that gives an opportunity to drivers that cannot be in Formula One or other series, just to have another series where they can earn their money, live from the passion. You know, I think it's great to have that. I think as a category itself, we have to respect what where they're focusing into, and I think they're doing a very good job with the series. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, I'm just happy that this category exists because there's so much talent that for one reason or another it couldn't make it to Formula One, that had the talent to be at a very similar level to the 20 drivers that you see today in Formula One. That having that category just gives an opportunity to those other 20 drivers to live from their passion, their driving, to battle between themselves, and have a lot of good friends there that I fought against in different categories, and it's just great to see that they have this opportunity, and it's also good racing, as they say. So happy that it exists.
Thanks all. Any more? Yes, another one.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. A question to Max, please. Checo touched on it earlier, but how did you feel the car was feeling in the much hotter temperature that we saw today? Thanks.
Yeah, I think in general, of course, everything is a little bit more difficult when it gets warmer. You know, you have a bit less grip. So I think the first few laps are really, you know, trying to adapt to that. Yeah, I think overall it worked out, of course, well for us. But yeah, it's always a bit more tricky when suddenly, you know, the whole weekend you've done a certain temperature and then suddenly it goes up a bit.
Any more?
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Question to Carlos, please. Ferrari seemed pretty strategically sharp in this race. It's been something the team's been criticised for a lot in the past. I just wondered, could you expand on any particular work that you've seen the team doing, and how pleased do you feel about that? Thanks.
I think we've made progress on strategy over the last 3 years, progressively. But if you see a jump this year on strategy, is purely down to the car. I think just having a car that allows you to have flexibility on strategy is something that last year we couldn't have. So we were boxed in to stop at certain laps. We couldn't extend. We had so much deck that it looked always like people could extend and then come back on us on a harder tire. Last year we were just zero flexible and we couldn't do anything with our racing. So it looked like we were not getting the strategy right a lot of times. But when you have a car that is better on tires, two drivers that can push on the car more often, and you have that extra flexibility, your strategy also looks better. And with this, I'm not underestimating the progress we've done. It's just, I really think this helps a lot.
Okay. Any more? Okay. We'll do one more. Yeah.
We just spoke about dangerous life, and you both two have fast fathers and also fathers who live dangerous. Who do you think is more in danger, you when you're driving, or your father? We remember his accident in all time in Hockenheim, fire and so. And your father had also still some accidents in Rally, and he's pushing on to the now.
Yeah, I personally feel the danger more for my dad than I feel it for me. Also because he's 62 and he's taken so many risks on his life already that I keep telling him, why do you keep going and going and going when you could be at home playing golf with me, or spending time with my mom. And yes, he keeps wanting to do this Dakar and these 2 or 3 rallies per year, and there's no chance we're convincing him of otherwise, and
Maybe your mom is happy that he goes. She has a bit of free
Probably
time.
your mom is like, yeah, keep racing, don't stop. You can stop.
To be able to tame my dad, I think it's good for him to go and do his thing for 3-4 weeks per year, especially the Dakar. It's 2 weeks per year, and he obviously has to do the preparation. But honestly, I still wonder sometimes, especially the Dakar. They take risks, and these rallies, you see some of the accidents. They are impressive, but good safety also, which is positive. But yeah, it'll always feel more risk for him than for myself.
Yeah, I mean, my dad started rallying 2-3 years ago now. So when I see his onboards, I definitely think he is more danger than me.
Last week they were 2 weeks ago, or I think it was Bahrain test. Your dad was showing my dad his accident or his moment.
Yeah.
So now they're sharing their
moments.
Their accidents and their moments. Look.
Don't worry,
What do you think? What do you think?
That's a mistake on the pace notes. Or
Yeah. My dad normally likes to blame it on the pace notes. But yeah, no, I mean, rallying, I mean, I have a lot of respect for the people that do the rallying. I mean, it's really impressive. Yeah, I think that is, for me personally, because of the trees and stuff, here we are on a track normally with walls and stuff designed, to withstand an impact and stuff. It really normally doesn't really move. So yeah, I think rallying is a bit more dangerous.
Don't worry, my dad is into politicians, so I think he's more in danger. So don't be concerned, guys.
All right, many thanks. Well.